Use this time for some target practice. The real thing's coming Playtime's over. Stand by for deployment to the war zone. Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
The Void. Everything, I think, is going to end up in the Void as we head to Doomsday. It's what Cassandra Nova wanted, after all, in Deadpool and Wolverine when she took over Mr. Paradox's Time Ripper device.
I'm going to use a little Time Ripper, and I'm going to destroy this universe, and the next, and the next, and the next, until all that's left is the Void.
Charles Xavier's Mumudrai twin failed at this mission, but I believe the person who will succeed was signaled to us by the biggest Easter egg in that film, Doom, in his God Emperor form, seen on the cover of Secret Wars #5. So why are the Avengers unavailable in Thunderbolts? Well, maybe Doctor Strange and Hulk, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Rhodey, Ant-Man, they could already be fighting Dr. Doom while this Void process is underway in New York, in the 616 universe. And I think the reason the Fantastic Four trailer also showed an apocalyptic shadow spreading over another version of New York in an alternate universe coming from Galactus is that alternate retrofuturist city is also going to have its broken chunks of skyscrapers and monorails and all of its infrastructure ending up in the Void as well. It's going to make Dr. Doom's Battleworld kingdom all the richer. Now you may be saying, wait, Galactus doesn't have the power to transfer people and places to other realities. He's just a devourer of worlds. You would be correct there, Galactus.
So I think a rumor that she may in some case be a mom. Do we get to understand more about her, or do you want to fill out any of that character conversation?
You'll have to wait and see.
Oh, here we go.
Is what I can say.
And I'm not going to name any names, but we here at New Rockstars were told by a source claiming to work on this movie that we were at least theorizing in the right direction on this one. Take that with a grain of salt. So we could end up in a scenario where like baby Franklin Richards goes into full Jack chaos mode in the final minutes of this movie and teleports the whole city, like the island at the end of Lost Season 4, away somewhere. And the Manhattan of this movie could end up in the Void. So what I think Marvel Studios is doing, how this all connects, is the following. Instead of Doctor Strange helping warp the memories of society to erase Sentry from existence, we are already in a scenario like that with a different character, Peter Parker, in Spider-Man No Way Home. But that spell was called the Runes of Kafkal, and Wong said at the beginning of that movie that it threatened the borders of known and unknown realities. And the way Sony has built on that event, it is clearly an incursion event.
Best low latency recording workflow with sauce. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, I'll explain more on that later. Because in this Apollo review, I'm going over everything new in Generation 2. From design changes, sound quality improvements, software updates, brand new UAD plugins, essential vocal tools, speaker and headphone corrections, and so much more. Plus a direct A/B comparison between the new and old Apollo X generations that you're not going to want to miss. And before we begin, check out the new Apollo and other great gear from Universal Audio at your local Guitar Center or guitarcenter.com. So let's jump into what's new in the design department. The entire Apollo X second generation lineup features a number of new updates, and today I've got a second generation Apollo X Twin and Apollo X6 to check out. But all the devices across the entire second generation lineup feature these same exciting new updates. Let's start out with the new X6. The most distinguishing factor is that new light silver color that kind of reminds me of the original Apollos from back in 2012. However, this new generation has a flatter, sleeker, more modern faceplate, which I really like. It kind of reminds me of the design from the LA2A Silver, and they look amazing side by side. The new oval shaped buttons definitely modernize the design and make it visually unique from previous Apollos. And they have a really satisfying clicky sound when you press them. The knobs feel extra high quality and smooth with some added resistance and more satisfying clicky noises as you dial in your settings. And on the X6, you can press the preamp and monitor knobs which kind of work like hidden buttons for channel selection or speaker muting. They've kept the same familiar LED lighting that indicates your audio levels, knob positions, and button status. And everything can be controlled remotely using the console app. But we're going to dive deeper into that during the software section of this review. On the back of the X6, you'll find all of your inputs and outputs, which from right to left include your mic preamp inputs, line level audio inputs, monitor outputs, extra stereo analog outs, digital SPDIF input and output, word clock sync to connect other digital devices, optical ADAT in and out, Thunderbolt 3 connectivity and a second port for daisy chaining, and a high-quality power supply connection that securely snaps into place. Switching over to the Apollo X Twins, we have that same familiar form factor, but with the new oval buttons, light silver faceplate, and black metal exterior. The lights and metering on your Apollo Twin work exactly the same as versions in the past, and I think show you all the information you need to perfectly nail your levels. The smaller form factor gives you a more stripped down collection of inputs and outputs to keep the desktop device as portable as possible. If you're just plugging in one or two mics, a synth, a guitar, a pair of speakers, then you'll have everything that you need in this compact device. But in my home studio, I have an analog vocal chain, multiple synthesizers, an analog master chain, and multiple audio analyzers, and the X6 covers everything I need and more. But that's enough about the outsides. Let's dive into all the improvements on the inside of the second generation Universal Audio Apollos. The number one thing that I care about when testing a new audio interface is the sound quality. And the new Apollos sound better than ever with their upgraded converters for both analog to digital and digital to analog. The second generation Apollo feature mastering grade. Pairing that to the previous generation of Apollos, you're getting a 2 to 3 dB increase of dynamic range from your audio interface. That translates to better sounding inputs and outputs for your recording, mixing, mastering, and monitoring. Upgraded conversion means upgraded sound quality across the board. So that makes me a very happy Apollo enthusiast. The second generation headphone outputs also have around 5 times less total harmonic distortion plus noise, coming in 14 to 15 dB lower than generation 1. Now that sounds like a huge upgrade for headphone users. But instead of just talking about it, let's actually hear the improved audio interface in action, starting with the microphone inputs. Here's some vocals recorded through the first and second generation Apollos in an A/B test.
Yeah, you know just what I want. I know you got the body, the key to turn me on. I'm on my way, already synchronized. Don't gotta say it, baby. Live for it, do or die. I'm on my way.
Presence and overall dynamics. The sound just had slightly better structure to it through the better converters. Listening through analog gear really showcased the improvements in quality, but even in the first mic preamp test, I could hear slightly tighter and cleaner sound from the source. Plus, in the headphone amp test, I also noticed the same improvements in dynamics, smooth frequency response, and stereo width. Overall, I'd say the Apollo X 2nd Gen is worth the upgrade just for the sound quality improvements alone. But sound quality is literally just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what makes Apollo the best audio interface in the game. Universal Audio's integration between hardware and software is literally unmatched. The star of the show has always been Console, where you can load up your favorite UAD plugins to process your live headphone mix to perfection outside of your DAW. The importance of taking your headphone mix outside the DAW is you'll no longer need to worry about buffer size settings, plugin count, track count, heavy virtual instruments, or CPU spikes. Once you get used to having that Console app for your headphone mix, you will never want to go without it. The Console app also has some huge updates to help you and your studio sound better than ever. First, auto gain. You can now let your interface intelligently set its own input level based on your performance. This ensures the incoming signal never clips or sounds too quiet. Just perform some practice vocals and let it listen and determine the perfect level for your vocals or instruments. Now that's next level. This software update is also going to be available for first generation Apollo users. That means you're going to get access to all the features that I just mentioned, except for auto gain. Auto gain's only available in the second generation Apollos. Outside of Console, there's also some exciting new updates in UAD Spark. Spark is Universal Audio's native plugin collection that you can use infinitely in your sessions, regardless of whether or not you have an Apollo connected.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm so ready for this.
Ooh, it tickles. It tickles.
Ha!
There you go.
Thank you. Woohoo! I feel brand new! Look at me! I'm whole! I'm whole! You saved us from that rusting toolbox! Thank you, May. You are a true hero!
Oh, thank you, Hammer.
Hey, what about me? Huh? I was part of this too. Where's my hero love? Did you see that explosion?
Anyway, we still have to get to Rose.
Oh, of course, of course!